Well, this is it. The moment we face your depression. And yes, the right way isn't to go far from this, but to face it. Because you don't want your depression to be a monster that's always making you look behind your shoulder. You want to know that you are a person capable of facing your own flaws and fears. You want to know that your depression isn't a permanent thing. You want to turn your depression into something that isn't a problem. You want to finally feel relief from all of this. So the only way is to go through. Let's continue. One of the causes for your depression is something that a lot of people frown upon, but it comes naturally to all of us humans. It's old and it's what kept us alive all these years. It's why we have so many rules and religions around it, and that is violence. Everyone is naturally violent. There's not a thing to feel guilty about. It's a human thing. The problem is people don't teach each other how to control it. They just deny it. But if you don't accept it and learn how to manage it, it will ooze out and attack people randomly, be it you or your loved ones. A quote from Mr. Jordan Peterson: "In order to be truly good, you need to be capable of evil. Otherwise, it isn't a choice. And if you can only do good things, then you are weak, a slave to your own habits, and not someone who can make their own choices, someone who's in control." So you need to discover where this violence is impacting your life and learn to control it. The monster who hurts you is also the same monster who can protect you. You just need to learn how to deal with it. Whether it comes from your life not equating to your expectations, or it comes from some old traumas, which we will talk about later, or it's just the way you were taught by people around you in your childhood, you need to learn to control your violence in order to solve your depression. If not, there is no order in your life. Everything just seems random with no clues. You will feel like a victim, weak, that your only option is to be attacked and suffer, causing the anxiety you feel, causing you to have a weak mindset, which is to blame every time something goes wrong. And that is a person you don't want to end up with. And it's time to stop that mindset from growing, because it only makes you miserable. So what exactly are the habits that you have that can be considered self-hate? Hi, I hope this video is helping you. If you don't understand something, please comment down below and I will answer. Like and subscribe because it helps me. And if you don't want to spend time watching my videos, go take a look at my ebook. The link is in the description. Now back to the video. So the first one is comparison. We are all afraid to be left alone, so we try to keep up with others, we try to please others, we try to be just as perfect as others. Because if we don't, we feel like we aren't enough. But the key point here is, if you live a life always looking at others, you aren't living your life. And what might be an ideal life for others might not be for you, leaving you always seeking for the next thing and never really enjoying anything. That's why comparison is the thief of joy. And since time is the one commodity you can't buy back, it's key that you understand this. That it's a huge waste of time to be constantly comparing yourself to others, because happiness is an individual thing. And so are the paths to it too. They aren't the same for everybody else, and you have to accept this. Another thing is you compare yourself to others because you don't want to face the reality that you right now might not be enough for others. You fear the rejection. Also, because you don't have a specific set of goals that relate to you as a person, you end up just trying to follow others because you are afraid of getting it wrong. But if you don't take risks for your happiness, then who will? You see, taking risks for your own personal goals is not the wrong move. It's your only shot at your happiness, because it's better to try and fail at your own goals than to devote years of your life to something you don't want, something that makes you miserable, and then be too afraid to dump the years of effort you invested in a result you aren't happy with and not change lives. That's why it's better to fail early. It means you get more tries. at the right thing, and that is your happiness, not what most people think a perfect life is. We all go into the ground alone, so no one will take responsibility for the wrong choices you made out of fear. It's time to ask what you want for yourself and accept the price for it. That might not be the life everybody likes or agrees with. Second example is self-criticism. You attack yourself constantly like you aren't the one that has to live with the pain after. You say the most nasty stuff because no one hears it. But no one is not really true. You heard it, and that hurts. You criticize yourself like someday you will change once you reach where you want to be. But no, your habits are you. That is gonna be the you will have to live with. You attack yourself because you can't deal with the fact that you don't have control over everything. So you blame yourself like everything is your fault. Something that might have been taught someone who treated themselves the same way. But in the end, you are just human. You don't have control over everything. And all you can do is do what you can do and not waste time on the things you can't change. And realize that blame you won't get you anywhere. Being right and being okay in life isn't always the same thing. Make daily life with you a more comfortable experience, because if you keep being like this, then that's who you will have to live with for the rest of your life. A pest no one wants to live with, Karen. And if that's the way you treat yourself, in which ways you treat others, and then end up thinking that it's okay because you treat yourself the same, you will end up alone living like that. Again, make living a life with you comfortable, and that starts with yourself. To not bring out the stick every time you miss something. Learn to control your violence. Be fair, be just, and practice kindness, because that also exists within you. And this is the right process to learn how to treat a person. That is a person who you want to be with. And the third one is ultimatums. I know that I talked about time being a finite resource. I know that the economy is bad. I know that you feel stuck and you are sick of all of this. Still, that is no reason to paint your life constantly as life or death situations. It's an exhausting and difficult way to live, so you end up in a cycle. You try hard, much harder than you are used to, then something snaps and you go back into depression again, and you end up back in the place where you started, and then repeat the same cycle all over again. Do you recognize the pattern? The only way to avoid this is to learn to walk at the pace you can walk now, and not the pace you want your life to be. Learn to be there with yourself, to go through whatever you have to go through, and take the time you need to take. Do not run from whatever you are facing right now. You need to learn to be patient with yourself and accept the price for it. That is what it means to be a real friend. Friends stay, no matter what it is, and they don't crucify you for it. And you owe it to yourself to be that for yourself. Otherwise, your life won't change. You will just be running everywhere and nothing will change. You need to be able to stop and think if what you are doing right now aligns with what you want to do. Otherwise, you will just end up wasting more time and energy. If slowly is what it takes for you to grow, then you have to accept that, because that is the only way where this life becomes worth living, where we know where we are going and we can enjoy each moment. Because if life is always running and putting yourself on deadline, then there's no motivation to try. No one wants a life like that. And that's why you end up back into depression. You owe it to yourself to provide with an idea of a better life. Look, there's no right formula for happiness. Everyone has different wishes and goals. And not everyone who's older than you has better knowledge. Most of them have it worse, actually, because mental health and a decent childhood wasn't a thing a few years back. I remember that it wasn't that long ago. So the only option becomes to take your own paths and learn on the path with the experiences that are tailored exactly to you because those are your choices. Otherwise, the pain you experience becomes wasted. We all go into the ground alone. No one will take responsibility for the choices you make out of fear. You owe it to yourself to provide with an idea of a better life. Make living a life with you worth living. And that is what this whole video is about. To learn to be a better person to yourself. That's how you stop being depressed. That's how you learn to treat others properly. That is how you learn to love. And that is why other people will want to be with you. I can't promise you that this is the right way. Some people need more tries, more time, more experiences. But I can at least promise you this, that this way you won't be alone and miserable. Now, the examples or the words I gave might not fit, but I won't cover them all. I'll just teach you how to discover them on next week's video. So subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will see you next week.